Working with groups, elements of success. This section looks at three aspects of planning a participatory decision-making workshop. The first is establishing the context. The second looks at a simple decision-making tool. And lastly, it looks at ways in which this tool can be used with both small and large groups. There are four parts in establishing an appropriate context: venue, seating, language, and introductions. Starting with the venue. People feel most comfortable meeting in their own territory, but if the purpose of a group is to have other stakeholders present and being included, it is preferable to choose somewhere neutral or at the venue of the least powerful. The ideal meeting room has large wall areas that can have blue tack and sticky notes attached, together with on-tap tea and coffee. But if walls are not available, screens and whiteboards can be used. Setting up the table layout is important. Formats that work well are either groups of tables if there are large numbers, or U-shaped layouts. There also needs to be consideration of the process language. While those in the corporate sector might be comfortable keying their input into a networked system, for many such a process would be immediately uncomfortable and alienating. Whatever the context, the next step is to enable participants become engaged and start contributing. There are many icebreakers around, but a very simple and easy one is to ask participants to pair up, ask each other some set questions, and to then introduce their partner to the others in the group. If people know each other from previous workshops, exercises that demand greater personal disclosure are useful. An example being for members to talk about aspects of themselves that might be found in an object. The art being to choose the right one for the context. The variables being numbers of people, time available, how well they know each other. To sum up, people contribute their best when they are in a non-threatening space, laid out to promote communication, and feel comfortable being with the other participants. From there on, the workshop has to be run to achieve the desired outcomes. There is a basic structure that can be applied in all sectors of the group decision-making process. The sequence being brainstorm, collate, and rank. Looking at each element in turn, commencing with brainstorming. Brainstorming is getting as many ideas as possible from the group around the particular topic. It is not the time to debate the merits of any idea, just to ensure that all participants' thoughts are captured. At its simplest, it is just writing on a flip chart what is called out about the subject or question. But there are other techniques. These include asking each member in turn their views on the subject, or having the group moving around the room, writing their views to propositions or questions on sheets of paper. In each case, the critical element is to ensure that all individuals have an equal opportunity to be heard. A third way that works well is to have participants write their input on cards. Each card should be written in large letters so that the idea can be read by all. Whatever the process chosen, once all have had a chance to input, the next step is to collate the ideas. There are two aspects to collation. Collation is the process of enabling the group to look at all the different individual views on the subject and identify the core concepts and themes within them. It is part reductionism and part developing higher level thinking. At its simplest, it might be the planning facilitator simply asking for reflections on what the participants see, now that everybody's ideas, issues or concerns are written down. A more rigorous process is to request participants pick out similar ideas and mark those similar ideas with symbols. The next part is naming the sections. This making the group do some serious thinking about what the collection of ideas mean. An advantage of group members putting ideas on cards is the ease in which the different ideas can be physically grouped by the participants and subsequently named. However it is done, this is where the collection of individuals really starts coming together as a group. Once there is a synthesis of the ideas into categories, it is often necessary to carry out some form of ranking process. There is the traditional voting process of majority rules. Alternatively, and more successfully, more sophisticated methods can be used in the form of continuum and sequential voting. Continuum voting enables people the opportunity to register a gradation of agreement around a particular decision. At its most simple, it can be just using sticker dots on a line with two extremes. A variation is to have a variety of different potential responses, enabling participants to register degrees of agreeance. This idea can also be achieved through coloured cards. This technique requires the individuals in the group to be quite skilled in the process, but it does provide a fast way to determine how people are thinking. A different form of continuum ranking is where there are a number of quite different options available, and what is required is in which order they want to be listed. Again, one of the most versatile being sticker dots. If there are only a few items, but there is real concern as to which should take preference, pairwise ranking works well. However, this system when used with a group can be cumbersome, though not impossible. A further step towards enabling greater agreement amongst a group being to run more than one round of voting. Sequential voting is where a first cut is carried out, followed by another more detailed vote. The purpose of using these techniques being to ensure that there is input from those traditionally disadvantaged in the standard meeting procedures, i.e., those who are not quick thinkers with loud, confident voices. It is of course possible to mix and match methods from one round to the next, with different degrees of intensity being registered. In conclusion, the Brainstorm, Collate, Rank process enables all group members a chance to participate in decision making, resulting in decisions that more are likely to commit to. Finally, there is the issue of how to work with large groups or with large agendas. In any given time, it is only possible to cover so much depth or breadth of the topic. The more complex the topic, the longer is needed to consider solutions. There are two ways to handle this. Small groups working on different aspects of the problem, small groups working on the same aspect of the problem. The traditional approach to this issue is to have small groups working on specific topics and reporting back. Sometimes this works, but often it doesn't. A more successful model is enabling people to be involved in the whole process through having small groups working on the same problem. A basic technique being think, pair, share. By enabling pairs to discuss issues together ensures everyone has the opportunity to discuss the issue, and by asking the pair to report back provides a degree of collation. Depending on the situation, this technique can be used for groups of a variety of sizes, up to about 6. More than 6 participants in a group requires a separate facilitator to ensure everyone gets a say, otherwise the group becomes dominated by 1 or 2 people and the outcome is no longer participatory. However, if there are sufficient facilitators available, large numbers of people can be involved in participatory decision making in this way. Using a large space and laptops, numbers of up to 5,000 have participated in one workshop. In conclusion, provide an appropriate venue and facilities, use the structural tool of Brainstorm, Collate and Rank, break large numbers into smaller groups, and consider the same items.